We took an interesting risk this week in changing our name and inserting the word employment into our title. We hoped we were right in doing that, and we did that very early on the first morning. And I have to say I've been delighted with the feedback we've got throughout the 2 days, not just from delegates, and I'm delighted to say we had the largest number of delegates we've ever had to one of our conferences, so that's good news. But speaker after speaker actually zoomed in on our new name and confirmed that it was exactly the right thing to do, not least of all because it much more accurately describes what we've always been doing. We've always been employer facing, we've always had a focus on employment, so it's absolutely right, it should be in our title, whilst of course we are very proud to carry on being learning providers with our apprenticeships backup and so on. So in many ways that was one of the big issues and big themes throughout the conference. And it was a theme. We'd headed up our conference looking at the links of employment and skills. And we of course have been arguing that it is really one agenda for some years, notwithstanding several government departments, I won't say dabbling, involved in the important agenda. And we've been arguing very strongly that it really is one agenda and policies must reflect it. And I'm delighted to say we do that from a position of strength, that our name reflects it as well and does reflect what our members do. Other big themes that have come up this week, I think there's a real fear that whilst there's a lot of money being put into apprenticeships, a real focus on the welfare to work agenda, and compared with other areas of government funded activity, we're comparatively buoyant. I mean, there's fundamentally a good financial news story. It's also quite clear that's going to get tighter over the next couple of years, and a real concern as to whether the restrictions on finance, which ministers and officials were kept reminding us of, would ultimately threaten the quality of what we deliver. We've been congratulated throughout the conference on the continuing high quality and improving quality of all we do, not least of all in apprenticeship completions. It's a fantastic figure, numbers way up, but completers way up. Very, very difficult to get increasing volume and quality at the same time in any walk of life that our members have achieved. And a real concern that we're determined to keep on that track, more numbers, higher quality, better completions, but whether in fact the finances will actually start to threaten that. And that was a theme that kept coming up and probably was focused an awful lot on the continuing government support for training for over 25s, where the government have been quite clear, saying that in stringent times they've got to take hard priority decisions, and they made it quite clear that their priority has got to be young people. And I don't think anyone would argue with that. That wasn't a particularly controversial position, but a real concern that the 25 plus market, where there's still masses to be done, including at basic skills level, not just at the higher skills level, could actually be squeezed too hard. So that was a theme and a query and a worry, I think, throughout the last 2 days. Which, you know, we're up for the challenge, and we accept that we are going to have to cut our own costs. We're doing it all the time. We are businesses. That's true of any sector, in any industry. But we're also, I think, putting greater pressure on the government, who are talking the need to reduce bureaucracy, helping us to reduce unnecessary costs. But I think we are beginning to really challenge that we like their rhetoric, but are they actually withdrawing unnecessary costs and bureaucracy from us fast enough? Because if that doesn't happen and we still have to carry unnecessary costs, that will mitigate against retaining the quality of what we have to do. So there's some tensions in there. Everyone wants the same outcome, but I think there's some issues yet to be resolved, and these were surfacing understandably throughout the last 2 days. But I suppose it comes back a little bit to our name change, reflecting what we've always done. But I suppose the other big theme of the conference, not just because we entitled it that, coming from ministers, was the determination to link up the employment market, the job finding market, with skills development, and an increasing recognition that's one agenda, that we are not going to get difficult people, long-term unemployed people, back into sustainable employment, real employment, lasting employment, unless we tackle their skills deficit. Now, we've always known that and done it and worked on it, and we've now got government ministers, and of course we had Minister John Hayes and Minister Chris Grading from the two main departments here today, and yesterday, they're increasingly agreeing that that is a joined up bit of thinking. We're keeping the pressure on. I think they mean it, I think they believe it. You just got to make sure that the programs and the delivery methodology enables their aspirations to be met. And we're saying we can meet it as long as you give us the flexibility to design the programs locally and deliver them to the right people in the right time. That can't be centrally designed, mustn't be centrally designed. Give us sensible cash, give us sensible targets, and we will design and deliver and in fact overachieve. That's our claim. We quite like to have our bluff called.
One quick question, if I may, and it's based on something said earlier by Jeff Russell, the Chief Executive of the Skills Funding Agency. And that was about a shift of colleges moving on to turf traditionally held by training providers. What can independent training providers do to differentiate themselves as this process happens more and more?
The only differentiation is quality of delivery. I mean, a huge win, and I'll use our old title if I may, because that's when the win was achieved, of AELP over the last 9 years. We've been fighting like mad to say that independent providers need the same kind of access to government skills funding as colleges have had, simply to demonstrate that we can do as well or better. And if we can't, then the money should not flow to us. But conversely, if we can do as well or better, the money should. And there's been all kinds of barriers. They have been lifted, and Jeff Russell actually confirmed that with his opening comments that from the 1st of August, that's not very far away now, there is this new level playing field. That was his words, we've been arguing for it, his words, whereby providers of all sorts will now be able to compete and have the opportunity to run the whole range of skill support programs. And he quite rightly, talking to the independent providers, says that is going to enable the colleges, and some of them are really moving, some of them are members of AELP, of course, to actually move into the apprenticeship work-based learning field. Fine, we have always welcomed that, and if they can demonstrate that they are best positioned to do and deliver it, they should be given every opportunity. The other part of the sentence, of course, was that independent providers will also have the opportunity to move into what has been traditionally college territory on the community and individual support. Now, all of our members won't rush into that market, but we have argued long and hard to say that providers of all types should be able to move across that mixed market where they can demonstrate their best at delivering in terms of cost-effective terms. So yes, Jeff did say that there is a real threat to us by colleges moving into our traditional area. Yeah, we've always welcomed that. We've never worried about threats. We understand markets, and we understand that the best in terms of cost-effective delivery with taxpayers' money should be given the opportunity to deliver, and we think that's what's on offer for us from the 1st of August. We welcome the challenge. What it will do is drive up standards, drive up quality, give better value for money for the taxpayer, and a better output for the individuals and the learners and the employees and the employers that we all seek to serve.